Welcome back to Feeling Seen, the podcast about the movies that make us feel seen. Today on the show, we are looking back at one of those feel-good, feel-kinda bad, but then feel-good all over again classics that the late 80s, early 90s did really so well. It is Fried Green Tomatoes, a movie I avoided for a very long time out of fear of its feel-badness. But this film adaptation of Fannie Flagg's best-selling novel is truly worth the time. And we have a perfect co-host to bring us this Southern gem, comedian, podcaster, and Southern belle, Allie Clayton. Allie's comedy album Country Queer hilariously documents her own gay coming-of-age story, and that background makes her film all the more perfect as a discussion topic today. Allie Clayton, what else do the people need to know about you before we get started?
I'm a lesbian, hence my movie choice.
Yes.
Yes. And I have a podcast called Y'all Gay.
Of course, the podcast Y'all Gay, with a wonderful catalog stacked up for all of our listening pleasure.
There's a lot.
What was the impetus for starting Y'all Gay?
So my co-host and I, Ever Maynard, hilarious non-binary comedian that's based in LA now, they are originally from small town Texas. And I'm from middle of nowhere, North Carolina. So we met in Chicago in 2009 when we both started doing comedy. And then they went to LA. I went to New York. We were like, well, we can't really do stuff together. Then the pandemic happened and everybody started using Zoom. And we were like, we can do our own thing. And so we're like, let's make a Southern gay podcast. And people have really seemed to enjoy it.
A sort of subcategory of the sort of queer identity within there that I did want to ask about is, what is it like being a gay country music fan?
You know, Jordan,
I grew up in a country music town. I grew up in very agricultural farm town, Oregon.
Okay.
And so I wanted to hear your experience of being a gay country music fan.
No, I mean, there's certain ones that, like, I just can't come around on. Like, recently, I've just been real irritated by Carrie Underwood, and I think Jason Aldean should just suck a bag of dicks. I don't know if that's...
Just hang it up, man.
But yeah, I love country music. And it has, like... I tried to talk on my podcast about as I discover more gay country musicians, because there are quite a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like Brooke Eden, Morgan Wade, Lily Rose.
Okay.
Me and my girlfriend just went to a Morgan Wade concert, and I was like, oh, this is going to be all lesbians. And I mean, we were there, we were in the house. That was obvious. Yeah. But I was like, what are all these 60-year-old men doing here?
Look at that, transcending.
Yeah. So just Morgan's incredible.
What are all these old men doing here? I think is a good segue actually into the film of choice, which as I exclaimed when Daniel relayed to me what movie you had brought to discuss. To me, this movie exists as like a VHS or DVD 2-pack with Steel Magnolias. Mm-hmm. Please tell the folks at home the movie that you've brought for us to discuss today.
And I have my DVD right here. Fried Green Tomatoes.
I pictured that immediately when I pictured, and then I pictured like the poster, the original poster with like the literal 3 tomatoes.
Oh yes,
on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not all of them green. This. I was like, I like part of my exclaiming when this was brought to the table, I was like, I am going to have to cry again watching Fried Green. Like there was a string of movies. This was between like 1988 and 1991. You have Beaches, Steel Magnolias, Fried Green Tomatoes, Thelma and Louise, intimate tales of female friendship that will make you smile and tear your heart out.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Still Magnolias. I mean, drink your juice, Shelby. Like it is, you know, it's, and I feel like so many of those characters, like Weezer is a huge lesbian. Like,
Yeah, that's Olympia Dukakis,
yeah,
right?
right? Like,
Weza!
yes. Fantastic. All of those beaches I was obsessed with as a child. Um, I don't, now that I'm like, all these were my favorite movies. How did I not know I was gay? But, and Fried Green Tomatoes, hands down, I just think it's one of the best love stories.
Oh, Angie, what's your mother gonna say when she sees us both drunk?
You gotta stop worrying about what people think.
I know.
I mean, you've always done the right thing. You took care of your daddy, the preacher, when he took sick. You take care of all the kids over at the church school. You gonna take care of your mama?
I know, and I'm gonna marry the man I'm supposed to.
You're getting married?
As soon as the summer's over. Oh, am I gonna miss you? This is the best birthday I ever had.
Fried Green Tomatoes is one of the great veiled lesbian love stories on film ever. And the book is much more clear in the love story, even if it is not sexually like depicted, in the explicit love story between Ruth and Iggy, these main characters. Like the movie, we take place in two timelines. It's the 80s. Housewife Kathy Bates gets to know this woman at an assisted living facility played by Jessica Tandy. And we experience the movie as Jessica Tandy tells Kathy Bates stories about her life that take her back into the 1930s. And most of these stories center around, the stories center around this two people, Iggy and Ruth, who are best friends in the way that your aunt and her best friend who've gone on vacations together for 20 years are best friends.
Yeah.
And so we see sort of the arc of Kathy Bates's life in the 80s tense, where she comes into herself through the empowered knowledge of these two women that like endured together in the 30s. And then we're cutting back and forth between, you know, now and like old Whistle Stop, Alabama, this tiny town where they ran a cafe together. And I was watching it thinking about how gay it is to be Southern in popular culture to me, because it is such like a performance of gender that it feels at points like watching drag almost. It's like a drag presentation of gender to me, the Southernness of it.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
But you're a stakeholder here, so I don't want to overstep by just saying that unchallenged.
Let me see if I understand what you're saying. Are you talking about like Iggy? Or are you talking about?
I'm kind of talking about all of it.
All of them.
Because like in the Kathy Bates timeline of the movie, like we have her going to these like sort of self-help sessions with a woman who's guiding all these housewives through, like, here's how you can re-enliven your marriage and all the things that the women can do to make their marriage better.
Yes.
It's talking about like there at some point, like her friend says something to her about like Southern women need a course on like how to be more assertive, and then mentions like the contradiction of being a Southern woman and being assertive.
Yeah.
Evelyn, you know, what we really need instead of this baloney is an assertiveness training class for Southern women. But that's a contradiction in terms, isn't it? Especially you, sweetheart. You're living in the dark ages.
But then, and then, like, so you have, like, obviously within the Mary Stuart Masterson Iggy character in the past, she's wearing suits. She's wearing Annie Hall's outfits in 1930s, very rural Alabama. There are very few questions there. And then there's Ruth, who's more quiet and demure. But, like, the sort of watching the performance of like the norms and the politeness and the quietude of the Southern belle within Ruth, but then watching Iggy be this like kind of like performance of the tomboy. Like it felt all together like the Kathy Bates timeline and what she considers to be a good woman and how that's at odds with what she truly is. It feels like watching a grand performance of gender across the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. I think one of my favorite things overall about the movie is that so much of when lesbians are depicted in film, it's tragedy. And there's plenty of tragedy in Fried Green Tomatoes, but the tragedy is not that they're lesbians. And that's just like really like heartwarming to see, like, oh, we can invest in this couple and it's not going to be, you know.
Oh, absolutely. And it even felt like watching it again now, it had been a while, and like even my brain, like having absorbed like so many lesbian movies over time, like even though I know where it's gonna go, I still feel that like thing almost like happening in inside my head that's like protecting me from like the horrible like anti-gay crime that they're going to endure for just being themselves.
Yeah.
And then I'm pleasantly reminded throughout the course of the movie that no matter what they're up against, that is never the thing that is tormenting them. And it's really sweet that that is true.
I know.
So you specifically said that you honed in on Ruth in this movie, the Mary Louise Parker character. A wonderful term by Mary Louise
I would
Parker.
say equal for both. I would say.
Okay, equal for both.
Yeah. Like.
Okay.
Like I can really, and maybe it's like my southernness and my liberalness feel like at war with each other sometimes. Yeah, no, I see so much of like myself like in each character, and I see a lot of like what I would want out of you know, a relationship, as far as to be dedicated like that to someone. It's really beautiful. There's plenty of racism talk and stuff, and I really, a lot.
True.
I mean, it's the time period, it's the South, and it's still like so prevalent in the South. And Iggy has George. And I had Larry growing up. It was a black man that was like my nanny. And all the kids at school called me Oreo. They thought he was my dad.
Wow.
Yeah. Like crazy stuff. But like I could like really relate to Iggy like standing up for George and just feeling so angry about it all. Like I felt very angry a lot as a child, hearing people just talk ugly and stuff. And so like I really, there's like I wish we could all have the backbone of Iggy at times, you know?
Right, yeah.
Hey, go on, Iggy. I'm talking to you as a friend now, Iggy. There's some people in this town, and they's paying customers too, but I won't say who. But there's some people don't like you selling the colors.
Here you go. Well, listen, Grady, I'll tell you what, the next time those some people come in here, I'm gonna ask them if they don't want anybody to know who they are under those sheets they wear when they go marching around in one of those stupid parades you boys have. How come they don't have enough sense to change their shoes?
Now, you just hold on there, Iggy.
No, y'all ain't fooling anybody, Grady, but I recognize those size 14 clodhoppers you got anywhere.
Just a minute now, Iggy.
Would you like some more pie, Grady?
No, thank you, Ruth. Iggy, I'll talk to the boys. But you just keep them on out back there, you hear? All right, Ruth.
Bye, Grady.
When did you start to come into parts of that in yourself? If you feel like you have started to come into parts of that.
Well, I mean, obviously I can't drop the Southern. I haven't lived in North Carolina since I was 23 and I'm about to be 39 and I still sound like this. Everybody's like, I'm like, I guess because my mama calls me so much. I don't know. I mean, it's always like kind of been a joke in the family, like, oh, nobody offend Liberal Alley. And it's like,
Oh yeah.
I'm like, no, I just said, please don't say racist things. That's all I said. I was just like, hey, can we not say racist things? And they're like, whoa, somebody's upset. You know, I'm saying, what?
This feels very familiar to my own, being back in my own hometown.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of that, but even like I really challenged it as a kid. At my school, we only had 2 Black students. And I remember my best friend in 6th grade, Sean, he had asked this girl, Leslie, out. And Leslie said, I can't go out with you because my mama said I can't date Black boys.
Okay.
And this was like the 90s.
Right. Yeah. This is not the past timeline of fried green tomatoes.
This is not the 1930s.
Yeah, we're not in the Dust Bowl anymore.
Yeah. And all of my family was meeting together to eat that night. And Sean had been crying at school and I couldn't stop crying. And they were like, why are you crying? And I was like, because this is wrong. And, but then I remember like an uncle speaking up and it's like, well, Leslie's mama's right. And I was like, I think we were at like a Japanese restaurant at the mall. And I remember, and I was just like, she's wrong. And I like ran out into the mall. So like, I mean, not making the changes in life as big as Iggy was, but
Sure.
I've always felt that sense of like right and wrong. And, you know, that even if you might face a consequence, it's Atticus Finch. It's like, you know, which is my favorite book ever is To Kill a Mockingbird.
When was your first watch of Fried Green Tomatoes?
I mean, I should not have been, I think like 7 or something. Like, like really, like I remember my granny had this handheld, like bright purple mirror. And I remember vividly being like, well, I need to go look at my vagina immediately.
Right, yeah, because of Kathy Bates' character has a scene where she's in like this women's group, and this woman's like, "Today we're gonna get acquainted with our vaginas." Ladies.
Yes,
and Kathy Bates' character runs out in a panic.
We're gonna begin to explore our own femaleness by examining the source of our strength and our separateness, our vaginas. So if y'all will just slip off your panties now and straddle your mirrors.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Miss Couch. Miss Couch.
I need to be excused for a minute. Missy, could you come with me to the ladies' room?
Do you find this threatening?
Well,
Do you have a problem with your sexuality?
no, ma'am, but, I do have a problem with my girdle.
Yeah. So that Fried Green Tomatoes helped me, I guess, get more comfortable with my body.
Yeah, great.
But yeah, like seven. And then just like throughout my whole life, you know, it's like one of those where it's like, I'm depressed. I'm going to put this on and cry even more. Like, like I really want to spiral out here. I'm going to put this on. But it's like that feel good movie. And I just like the Tawanda of it all, which Tawanda is like an alter ego of Iggy's, which is just like, I've had it. I'm not putting up with it anymore. That Kathy Bates character really like, you know, starts to try to embody.
She really embraces it.
She really embraces
it as a rallying cry.
Yes. And like, oh, that moment where those 2 snotty young girls pull into Kathy Bates' parking spot and she just rams their car.
Excuse me. I was waiting for that space.
Yeah? Tough. Face it, lady, we're younger and faster.
Tawanda.
Face it, girls. I'm older and I have more insurance.
Just gold.
Absolutely.
I think
like freshly off an Oscar for like Misery, Kathy Bates, showing you the range of one of our great actors.
She's like so vulnerable in this, and I can relate to her too, and like being such a caregiver and taking care of everybody else, always wanting to take care of people, and then being like, oh, well, I deserve for someone to take care of me too. But I think every woman has a Tawanda moment, you know?
I would agree with that.
Yes.
I would agree with that.
Yes. Every woman gets to a point where like there's a moment where you just can't freaking take it anymore, and you got a Tawanda. And
when did you find yourself crossing that threshold?
Tawanda. Well, I've gone a little Tawanda quite a few times in my life. I've been known to be a bit scrappy back in the day. I'm an alcoholic. I'm sober now. Thank goodness for everyone. But like I think the last like fist fight I got into was when I was 30. I'm 39.
Wow.
Yeah.
Full fist fight.
Well, these guys were trying to take this really drunk girl and put her in a car. And me and my friend like called them out and we were like, you need to let her out. And this girl like couldn't speak. Like she was just like mumbling, like so drunk.
Yeah.
And they were like, mind your business. And we're going to put this girl in the car. And so my friend like went up and grabbed him and then they started fighting. So I was like, oh, I got to help my friend. So I jumped on one of the guys' backs like a koala bear. And started hitting him in the face with my Old Navy flip-flop. And and there's a moment where what is it? Frank, Iggy.
Yeah,
was Frank.
Ruth's abusive husband. She previously goes to the house and like to see Ruth because she's gone off to be married to this man in Georgia, and she goes by to see Ruth at the house, and Ruth has a terrible black eye, and she sends Iggy away, and a time later, Ruth sends correspondence to Iggy that lets Iggy know, like, I'm ready to go, like, I need you to come get me. And Iggy promised him, like, if you touch her again, like, I'm going to kill you. And of course he's not going to let his wife leave. He's an abusive bastard. So Iggy decides to go just full fury and jumps, as you said, onto the back of Frank like a koala and is just beating him with everything she's got in her little Mary Stuart Masterson body.
Yeah. Well, he does the thing where he like backs her up into a wall and then like she hits the wall with her back. That happened to me. And so me and my girlfriend were rewatching Fried Green Tomatoes and I was like, hey, that's like when I koala'd that man. That's the exact same thing he did to me. Yeah, so I would say that was pretty Tawanda of me.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
That's such a through line of like the movie of like with the caretaking aspect of it too, because even then by the time you have like Kathy Bates like sort of coming into her own and she's realizing like probably in her 40s that like she's not the person she wants to be, and when she decides she wants to like help Jessica Tandy and bring her into her home and care for her in these last years, and Jessica Tandy says like, I don't know when the last time was I didn't have someone to take care of.
Yeah. Yeah.
I find too, I realized this like when we did our episode on the Joy Luck Club, which was fantastic. Just not enough like multi-generational stories of like women talking about women.
Yes.
It feels so valuable in a really special way that I realize its absence when I watch it, how little of it I feel like we get, which is really just sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's very like women's empowerment. And it's like the Fanny Flagg who wrote it was, is an out lesbian. Was Fanny Flagg from Alabama? Do you know?
I think Fanny Flagg is from Alabama.
It's from Alabama. Okay. Yeah, just something kind of brave about writing that. And it came out, our book came out in 1987, I think. Mm-hmm. To put that out in 1987 seems like could be a very scary thing. Just, I mean, as far as in the South at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was reading an article that had like a quote from Mary Stuart Masterson where she was talking about that they had filmed more that would have more clearly like defined
I saw that.
Ruth and Iggy as like in a romantic loving relationship with one another.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, this movie came out in, I think it was 1990 or 1991.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I get why that wasn't happening, but there is something that like, something I think about every now and again, sort of just like that value still of things that are coded queer, because there's still the things that you can watch safely if you need to do that. Like, I am so glad that like Gen Z now has so many more gay options of characters in film and television that they can watch. Like, thank God I don't want to put the genie back in the bottle, no matter who's trying to do that at this moment. But knowing that there are those archival pieces out there that if you need to access something in a safe way that your parents wouldn't necessarily be upset about you watching, that is still really important to have those options. And I just kind of wanted to hear from you about like growing up with those coded queer things that we had to like patch ourselves into, or like that like we with our special gay glasses that we have on, the invisible gay glasses, like being able to perceive these worlds that like heteronormative people just like aren't tapping into on that same frequency.
Oh, I mean, Edgy and Ruth, like, I mean, I feel like every lesbian wants to find the edgy to their Ruth. Really, I really do. It's just growing up in the South and hearing stories from my grandparents, who one of them grew up in Alabama, the other one grew up in Arkansas. It's just all depicted so correctly. It feels like that it's, and I mean, just so much that like you can relate, not showing off how like badass you are about how many fish you could catch, like you know, going somewhere private to drink moonshine. Like moonshine is still a big deal in the South. Like my uncle we could never use my Uncle Danny's big garden bathtub because he made moonshine in it. And that was the fancy bathtub, but we couldn't use that because moonshine was being made. And I kind of love that about Idgie too, like the card player of it all, the like whiskey drinker, getting Ruth drunk for like her first time ever.
Yeah, I mean, Idgie is not and is at least a little bit of a scoundrel.
Yeah,
she hardly ever come home. Only Big George knew how to find her. She just didn't seem to care about anything anymore. And then one summer day, her mama sent for her. But like they say, God never shuts one door without opening another. Yeah, that was also the day Itchy met Frank Bennett, the man whose murder got her arrested.
Well, hello there, miss. And who might you be?
Tawanda, to you. Who are you?
Oh, Frank Bennett's the name, Miss Tawanda. I must say, you are looking mighty fine today.
You a politician or just lying, just running your family?
She is, I think in modern parlance, she would in her way be like, she would have notes of being a fuckboy.
Oh, yeah. Idgie in Brooklyn right now would...
in the same clothes.
Yeah, in the
same
exact same clothes would, I mean... panty dropper. I don't know what else to say about it, but like, yeah, Itchy would do very, very well this day and age. But there's something that's like, I mean, as unconventional as Itchy is to the South, so much about the person that she is so Southern.
Okay,
not in the similarity of. Like the value system, all that, but I knew like plenty of tomboys, growing up, and the fishing and the hunting and the not going into the woods and not coming home for a few days. It all just feels real good to me when I watch it. And that we have to remember that like places are complex, and not being from somewhere doesn't mean that just because a majority of the people or you hear things does not mean that everyone from that place thinks and feels that way. And I think this movie like reminds us of that, that there are people that want to do the right thing.
See you in church, sister?
Reverend? I can't believe he actually swore on the Bible.
Well, not really. If that judge had looked any closer, he'd have seen it was really a copy of Moby Dick.
But why did he do it?
Well, should Joe have seen you in church again, which I suggested to him might be your penance.
You didn't promise him.
Yes, ma'am, I did, and I'll never break my word.
Do you like? I was listening to some of your stand-up that I could like find, and I saw you doing like opening one set by saying like like referencing your accent and saying like, I look like I could be in every gender reveal gone wrong video,
yes.
like ever.
Yeah.
And do you feel like it is there a barrier, or is there a sort of accommodation with being so like apparently Southern as you are? Is it kind of like, have you kind of like, I've got to say something? Does it like exist as a kind of elephant in the room? Do you have to like talk about it or around it or through it to people? Is that something that you've gleaned from audiences?
Yeah, I feel like it's best just to address it, because I've had not addressed it and had people come up to me after shows and go, that Southern character you do is so good. And I'm like, oh, I was just myself for 20 minutes. Like, yeah, it wasn't a goofy character. This is who I am as a person. And I mean, I like to jab fun at it. You know,
sure.
I know it can sound a little ridiculous, but there's like always, you know, things that come with it. I mean, I feel like when people hear a Southern accent, like their first thoughts are like, well, now Trump's border,
right?
Or you know that, you know, you're dumb, you're racist, like all of those kind of things. I mean, I worry all the time. Like I'll go and have a full anxiety attack because I'm very dyslexic, and sometimes when I'm hosting, I have a hard time with names and will like pronounce them incorrectly. And then I'm like, oh God, everyone thinks I'm racist because I couldn't say that name. And it's like just a constant worry walking through life, especially living in New York City. Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God, you know, I don't want people to think this about me, but I also don't know how to sound any other way than I sound. So
it is time for a break, but we will be back with more about the magic of fried green tomatoes. And at the end, I will have one quick thing before I go about movie theaters, just generally. We talk about supporting the cinema all the time. We're just going to give it a special shout out at the end, so stick around.
If you like too many podcasts, you'll love Soundheap with John Luke Roberts. It's got clips from all your favourite podcasts, such as Diary of a Tiny CEO.
Leonard Sprague, tell me how you make your money.
I go to the beach and I steal people's towels.
Remember Armour.
Do you remember the trend of everyone whacking themselves on the head with hammers and mallets when they wanted to lose weight?
And Elty John's Lobberly Songs.
I'm here today with Kiki D. Hello, Kiki D.
Hello, Elton.
There's dozens of episodes to catch up on, and brand new episodes going out right now. So, if you want far, far, far too many podcasts, then look for Soundheap on Maximum Fun. Boop boop.
All right, we're over 70 episodes into our show. Let's learn everything. So let's do a quick progress check. Have we learnt about quantum physics?
Yes, episode 59.
We haven't learned about the history of gossip yet, have we?
Yes, we have. Same episode, actually.
Have we talked to Tom Scott about his love of roller coasters?
Episode 64.
So how close are we to learning everything?
Bad news. We still haven't learned everything yet.
Oh, we're ruined!
No, it's good news as well. There is still a lot to learn.
Woo!
I'm Dr. Ella Hubber.
I'm regular Tom Lum.
I'm Caroline Roper, and on Let's Learn Everything, we learn about science and a bit of everything else too.
And although we haven't learned everything yet, I've got a pretty good feeling about this next episode.
Join us every other Thursday on Maximum Fun.
I love the scene in Fried Green Tomatoes, the bee charmer scene.
Oh my, wow. Like watching it this time and really being like, okay, I'm going to talk to somebody about this. I'm like really going to dig into it. I think that is one of the most like ensorceling scenes I have like ever watched. Like Mary Stuart Masterson is covered in fucking bees. She's walking into a tree of bees. She's reaching into their hive and pulling out honeycomb, and she is walking away, shoulders covered in bees, and it's so cool and hot.
It's so hot. Yes.
When she hands, like the look on Ruth's face when she's like watching her do this and she like hands her the jar of freshly comb honey.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I would also look this completely fucking melted the way that Ruth does right now.
Don't you want the honey? Got it just for you. It's all right. I do it all the time. I never get stung. Honest. Don't be mad at me, Ruth.
Reggie, I'm not mad at you.
No fooling. Is it bad what I did?
No.
I thought it might be crazy or something.
No. No, I've heard there were people who could charm bees. I've just never seen it done before today. You're just a bee charmer, Edgy Threadgood. That's what you are, a bee charmer. Hey, want to taste it?
Yeah, and I mean, it says it in the book and in the movie. I was gonna read one of my favorite quotes here. It's funny, most people can be around someone and then gradually begin to love them and never know exactly when it happened. But Ruth knew the very second it happened to her, when Iggy had grinned at her and tried to hand her that jar of honey. All those feelings she had been trying to hold back came flooding through, and it was at that second in time that she knew she loved Iggy with all her heart. And so it's like that.
I mean, it's like at that second in time, I knew I loved Iggy with all my heart.
You just know, you can see Ruth and you're like, Ruth has fallen in love, but also Ruth is so turned on right now. You're like, there is no way to hide that, Ruth. A lot of people, and I thought for a while too, that Ninny, the narrator, was Iggy. And
100%. The movie absolutely, like, I know, like, the director has said, like, he wanted to leave it open to question. He doesn't leave it open to question. He completely fucking conveys that Ninny was secretly Iggy this entire time, which is not, I've not read the book, but as I understand it, that is not the implication of the book.
Ninny is, so Iggy's brother, she had multiple brothers, Iggy did, and one of her brothers, Cleo, Ninny was Cleo's wife. And so there's a brief mention of, that they had a son that was special needs. Yes. Ninny and Cleo did. And so we know Iggy didn't have that. Iggy had Buddy.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I definitely thought that. And I especially there's this shot of just Ninny's feet with these Air Forces and these funny socks. And I'm like, that's Iggy. That's so Iggy.
And the way Kathy Bates looks at her is like, it's like her in the audience at that moment. And then looking at Ninny being like, oh, so we're all realizing right now that this was her life before Ruth passed. And this was the one fork in the road where it would have gone, where she was living in peace with Ruth forever. But then when Ruth passed, it was well, I guess I better marry a man. And when I watch the movie, I like it, but it's insane manipulation to know that was not the intent of the author.
Yeah, it was why couldn't I get that? Why didn't I pick that up? And I go and read all these things and I'm like, oh, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
But God, Jessica Tandy.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, when Kathy Bates walks in that room and the nurse comes and starts taking those flowers off the wall. I mean, just lost it. Just
Stop this! What is the matter with these people? Can't you wait a goddamn day, for Christ's sake? Oh, do you have no respect? These are her things.
Well, I'm sorry, miss, but they told me to get this room ready for another patient.
Well, she may be just another patient to you, but she was my friend. And I loved her.
And it doesn't matter how many times I watch it, I lose it every time.
Oh, yeah. No, I was a mess on the couch watching it again. And it just one of the, it's one of those things, even though you know how it's going to go, they sell that scene so incredibly well. And the movie has devastated you just enough times up to that point. So it's not an exploitative, sad movie, but it's done enough to be this movie could claim anyone at any time you care about.
Yes.
Knowing that is well, no one's safe. I just had to watch Iggy lose Ruth. No one's safe here.
Yeah.
At points, this movie is trolling the shit out of the people watching it.
I I can understand having a funeral for an arm. I just don't know why she insists on calling him Stump.
Well, she said everybody else gonna be calling him that, so we might as well be the first.
Okay, ice cream and cakes for everybody in the cafe.
Like, because the only malactors in this movie are people from outside this community.
Mm-hmm.
The community takes care of each other.
Yes.
And through sort of like any hardship, the community finds a way to make it like the trial where you're like, oh my God, is Big George gonna get hung for killing a white man? It ends with us being like, oh, you have to go to church, Iggy. Like, this community like wraps their love around one another in a way that like you can't, like, I was waiting for Grady to like turn out to be a Klansman.
That's what I thought too. And then he's like, my shoes size is actually this. And it's
exactly. Then this, like, at no point is this kid losing his arm like a tragedy or like he has a sad day about it. But it's never like fully a setback to him because everyone else around him makes it so good. Like, it's really beautiful. People just keep taking care of each other in this movie. I don't know, maybe it's because everything's like so horrible right now, but like seeing a movie that is just fundamentally about people with their family and the family they choose finding ways to rescue each other, it was like a particular kind of devastating to watch at this moment in time.
Yeah. What about the Frank of it all? And
oh God, just like I think the most like that actor, I forget his name. He's doing such a tremendous job in a very brief part.
Yeah.
Like the amount of hatred you genuinely begin to feel for that man over probably a total of 90 seconds of screen time practically is very impressive.
Yeah, I'm like, my face looks disgusted right now just thinking about him. Yeah.
He serves as such a like the presence of him is so effective as of such a foil for that community.
Mm-hmm.
Like his horribleness amplifies in contrast just like how good this like little like snow globe is that they have in this train stop town, that it like he's like a perfect villain in that way.
Yeah.
Like he is so much conventional evil, and then he underscores so much of what is non-conventionally like special and worthy of preservation about this town and these people.
Yeah.
I love the conversation in the cafe between Iggy and Ruth when Iggy's like, I mean, I didn't kill him.
Yeah.
I'm only gonna tell you this one time. Frank Bennett won't be bothering you no more. You understand? You killed him. Didn't you? No. You don't believe me. Right now, I don't know what to believe. Believe me when I tell you I don't want you to move out.
I think Ruth might have died thinking Iggy killed Frank.
Yeah. Oh, I would assume so. I would assume if I were Ruth, I'd be like, yeah, Iggy killed Frank, and she can't tell me, she can't confirm that to me because it's better that I don't know.
Yeah.
And because at her core, she knows that Iggy would do anything for her. She has saved her once from Frank, and she knows that she would save her as many times as it takes.
I love how Mary Louise Parker just says the name Iggy Threadgood. You know, like Iggy Threadgood. Like you're just like, you are so turned on right now. Just in the way it just rolls off her tongue. Me and my girlfriend, I met like her friends for the first time, and we all watched it together. So it's just like a group of lesbians, and they just kept going like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, because I was like, no, like if we're all lesbians here. If you have not seen this, that's not okay. Like, there's no excuse for that. You know, we need if you're gonna have your card taken. You know, like And so we all watched it, and God, I would just the tragedy after the tragedy, and they're just like are crying, just like looking at me like, why would you do this to us? And I'm like, it's a part of our history.
Yeah. You're like, we're gonna watch Steel Magnolias after.
Yes, exactly.
I need to know what the collective reaction was to the beach armor scene.
Oh, like we like there were a couple people that were audibly like, "That's so hot." I was like, "Yeah, it is." So
yeah. And there's something I feel like that amplifies the sort of sensuality of it in a Southern story, because there's such a kind of romanticism to the sort of gentility and the presentation of manners in a sort of like conventional like sort of Southern narrative, that there is something about it it's like extra handkerchief clutching.
Yeah.
Like this aspect of like one of those canonically gay things is longing.
Yeah.
And this movie is just filled with so much of that.
Yeah.
And the longing within that scene and the hotness within the longing is just a perfect encapsulation of this movie's like gayness just behind the thinnest possible screen.
Yes. I found another quote I saved.
Well, what do you got? What's the quote?
So remember, if people talk behind your back, it only means you are 2 steps ahead. I wonder how many people don't get the one they want, but end up with the one they're supposed to be with. You know, a heart can be broken, but it keeps on beating just the same. I love your heart can be broken, but it keeps on beating just the same.
I'm sort of feeling like the cry tingles in the bridge of my nose from that.
I know. I know.
Oh, God. It's just the layers of love story within this movie are just so satisfying and kind. And I really appreciate you bringing this movie to be discussed, because the pantheon of lesbian romance and love stories, it can be so bleak and so overwrought, but this just like nice story of nice women being good women being good to each other.
Yes.
Felt like really nice to talk about.
Yeah, there's never a moment where it's like the women are pinned against each other
and Iggy's mom's not like, you and that gay Ruth over there. Like, that doesn't happen. Like, Lois Smith is just concerned for her daughter living in the forest.
Yes, exactly. Oh man. I'm grateful for this movie. I do feel like that. Like, you know, people that are smaller minded or just haven't been around gay people, like thinking that like it's so different or something.
Right.
And it just shows how we're all the same and have complex emotions and fall in love. And, you know, this love is just as valid as any other love. It's such an important message I think you take away, and just like the power of doing the right thing.
I completely agree, and I think that is a fine bow to put on the top of it. And I just thank you so much, Allie, for taking the time to talk to us today and to share this movie. It is one that we need to be bringing up more in the women's pictures of the 1990s conversation. Thelma and Louise, a classic. It's not the only one of 2 women defying the odds. And they don't even have to drive off a cliff together.
They don't even have, I mean, one needs to die of cancer, but
right. But it's not a penance.
Yes,
it's not a penance that she's paying.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to Allie Clayton. You can listen to Y'all Gay wherever you get your podcasts, and her album, Country Queer, is on Bandcamp and other streaming services. Or you can even get it on vinyl. We will put a link in the show notes for all of that. And now I have my one quick thing before I go, which is, hey, movie theaters, how you doing? I've not been able to get enough of the fact that it was this last weekend by the time this pod comes out. It was a fantastic weekend at the box office. Sinners with a tremendous hold. Coming into its second weekend. It's The Accountant 2, Revenge of the Sith, Sinners, and I believe Minecraft was the 4th one. All 4 of those movies made more than $20 million in one weekend at the box office. And that so serendipitously lined up just the very weekdays before that happened. Netflix Ted Sarandos? Netflix Ted is out here in an interview that's making its way through the trades, getting circulated online, where he's like, people just aren't interested in the theater anymore. Like, we are successful. We are the now, we are the future. Because, you know, it's not really something people are interested in. So we're really providing a service for people. And there was also a line about how, like, you know, not everybody lives in Manhattan and can, you know, is walking distance to a movie theater. So, like, it's really a luxury item that just most people can't not be expected to have as a part of their lives. Like, it's really just people want to stay home. They have to stay home. There's no other way for them to see movies anywhere ever. And so it's us. It's only us. Netflix, Ted implicitly asserted. And then the box office went absolutely bananas. In a we're so back kind of moment for movies. And we love that. We love to see it. Listen, I didn't grow up in walking distance of a movie theater either. I would say most people are not in walking distance of a movie theater. Some people, it is really far away. Some people, like, but guess what, Ted? We are at a rural broadband shortage in this country as well. Like, a shocking double digits percentage of people, it's maybe like upwards of 30, at least in the 20s percentile, of people in this country do not have broadband access, which makes Netflix straight up not an option for them. And you know what? I bet they don't have theater access super easily in those areas as well. But, like, don't sit here and tell us that, like, yeah, everybody having the internet is definitely not an option, but everybody being able to go to a movie theater, impossible, unheard of. This isn't 1962 anymore. Just really perfect timing. Really perfect timing for those of us who still believe in the theatrical experience, who love movies, who love going to see them as big as possible. And I hope we're all excited for what we have to come. You know, in the months ahead. We have a new Mission Impossible. We have a new Megan. Come on, we have a new Megan. We have Weapons from Zach Kreger, the director of Barbarian. And that's just the three I'm rattling off the top of my head. Got a lot coming our way. Thunderbolts, open wide, just about to. So yeah, get out there, go to the movie theater, and at the very least, prove a really, really rich guy wrong. Because who doesn't like to spend their time doing that? And that is our show. You can keep up with us wherever you get your podcasts. Hit follow wherever you're listening now to get a new episode in your feed as soon as it drops. You can follow us on Instagram at Feeling Seen Pod. And we are also on Blue Sky, me as well as the show. Search Feeling Seen or me, Jorcru, Jorcru, same on Twitter. Our theme music is by Andrew Epen. This episode was produced by Theniel Quasius and Marissa Flaxbart. Our senior producers are Kevin Ferguson and Laura Swisher, and this is a production of Maximum Fun.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows, supported directly by you.